This law made me ashamed of my country. That was the headline of a recent op-ed in the New York Times written by the former Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers. He was responding to what he described as the cruelty of the cuts to social services contained in Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill, which was recently signed into law. And of course, it's not the only economic policy of the Trump administration that could put a strain on the average American. Another recent one is tariffs. Joining me to talk about all this is the former Treasury Secretary, Larry Summers. Larry, welcome. Tell us, tell most people who may not have been following this as carefully as you have, what is the thing that offends you most, that upsets you most about this, what is just passed?
So there's numbers and there's stories, Fareed. The numbers are that this is the biggest cutback in the American social safety net relative to a baseline that we've ever had. If you look at the welfare reform bill that was passed during Bill Clinton's presidency, or if you looked at what happened at the beginning of Ronald Reagan's presidency, the cutback here is a much, much larger cutback. Those are the numbers. The stories, which I heard from my daughters who work in medicine in northern New Hampshire, really are harrowing. They're stories of people who used to be able to get rides to the hospital for their dialysis treatments and now won't be able to. Stories of people who are facing discharge who now will have no place at all to go and hoping for a homeless shelter. Stories of people who needed the kind of intensive care that the hospital can provide but can't get it because all the rooms in the hospital are filled with patients who can't be discharged because there's no Medicaid-supported rehab facility. So it's the combination of the numbers and the human impact that have left me very troubled by this legislation. I think we can be better than this as a nation.
And yet, despite these cuts, Larry, it adds trillions of dollars to the debt. We are now running a deficit that is 6.5% of GDP. What do you think? Where does this lead us? Are we going to be able to find markets to fund this kind of deficit spending?
You've touched on what I think is a very important issue that nobody can know the answer to. How long can the world's greatest debtor remain the world's greatest power? And there are all kinds of reasons why people want to invest in the United States, why they want to invest in Treasury bonds. So I'm not somebody who's got a track record of being cry wolf about the budget deficit or the accumulation of debt. But here it is, we're in good times, and we're borrowing at such a heavy rate that our debt is going up much faster than our income in good times when we don't have a major emergency that we have to spend money on. And that's not something we can do forever. And it's the responsibility of those who are stewards of our country to try to put things on a more sustainable path.
So, Larry, you look at the deficits, you look at the tariffs and the chaotic way in which they've been put in place, and they're now we're at very substantial tariffs, much higher than Smoot-Hawley on average, highest in a century. Why has there not been much of an effect on the economy or the stock market so far?
There has been, Fareed, economists who've studied populist economic policies. And in a way, that's a description of what we're doing. You follow the short-run instincts of large numbers of people, and that means tariffs to protect jobs, that means borrowing to finance spending, that means cutting back long-term expenditures. And what the record, this has been tried a lot in Latin America, in various European countries, And the general experience is that it looks pretty good in the short run and pretty terrible in the medium to long run. And so when you eat your seed corn, you can eat well for a while, but then you have a problem down the road. So yes, I think it is fair to point up that things have been less grave so far than many expected, but I think to take away a sense that all's well and that these policies are going to produce success, I think that would be very much a premature conclusion, and we all need to be watching the data very carefully going forward.
Larry Summers, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.